Hi, in today's video, we're going to talk about basic forms, the derivative rules. Now, these are your four most basic rules, and you will use these to solve almost any polynomial. There are other rules that we will talk about in other videos because those are a little bit more advanced. But these are the most basic ones that you can use this to get started with derivative rules. So let's just go over them. Okay, let's begin with the basic rule. So what this says, as I mentioned, the derivative of a constant is equals to 0. So what does this mean? This basically means that c is a number, any number. As long as there's no x right next to it, this will always be 0. So let's see what it looks like. Okay, say you're asked to get the derivative of y equals 12. The only thing you gotta do basically is use the symbol for the derivative, which is this, and this is basically 0. That's all you have to do. That's really all there is to it. Okay, if you're asked to get the derivative of f of x equals -9, it's basically the same thing. You just rewrite the function using the derivative sign equals 0. And that's literally all there is, all that this rule means. So you could use any number. If you're asked to get the derivative of f of x equals 10, all you have to do is this. This is what this rule means. So anytime you're asked to get the derivative of a number, just a single number, where is the constant, you will always get 0 as an answer. Now we're going to look at the power rule. The power rule states that the derivative of x raised to a power is the power times x raised to a power -1. Okay, here we have y equals x raised to the power of 7. If you're asked to get this derivative, what the rule says is that once you rewrite it, 7 is n. And when you have the answer, n moves in front of the x. So we have to do that first. 7. We rewrite x. And for the power, it says that n minus 1. So what does that mean? That what you're going to do is take 1 away from 7. So once you rewrite it, simplify it, you end up with 7 x to the power of 6. Okay, so the first thing you have to do, move n in front of x, and then take 1 away from n. In this case, our n is 10. So then you have 10x raised to the 10th power minus 1. And when you simplify it, you will get the derivative of f of x equals 10x raised to the 9th power. Now with this example, we're breaking down every single step, but eventually you won't even have to do that. Once you know how the rule works, you just basically skip. You go from this step to this step. Unless the function is more complex, then you have to do more steps. But this is basically what this means. Now let's take a look at the constant multiplier rule. The constant multiplier rule states that the derivative of a constant times a function is the constant times the derivative of that function. Okay, so notice that this function is basically this. You have a multiplication going on over here. So since this is a constant, what this basically means is that you're going to get the derivative of x raised to the 3rd power first, and then multiply the constant. So let's do the next step. So using the power rule, this means that the derivative of x to the 3rd power is 3x to the 2nd power. Now, what we have to do is multiply the constant over. Okay, now that we multiply the 4 with 3x to the 2nd power, this is basically your answer. Now, normally, you don't have to do this 2 steps. You basically, if it's a function this simple, you will basically jump all the way straight here. This is just the way the function works. This is basically what it's telling you to do over here. If you have a constant times a function, you will get the derivative of the function first and then multiply the constant with it. Okay, now we're going to look at the sum and sub rule. This rule states that the derivative of a sum or difference is the sum or difference of the derivative. Now, while this may look a little complex, it's really not. This is just a breakdown of how the rule works. Okay, if you're asked to get the derivative of f of x equals x squared plus 4x to the third power, notice that the plus could be a plus or minus. That's what the rule says. So it doesn't matter if this was a minus or a plus, right? If we break it down to what the rule says, it'll look something like this. So what the rule says is that you went from this equation that looks like this to something that looks like this. So even though you're separating the terms, in the end, you will get the same answer. So this is just what the rule stands for. You never have to do this. You just have to understand what's going on over here. Okay, once we get the derivative, notice that here we applied two different rules. This is the power rule, and this is a constant multiplier rule. Notice that up to this point, the rules kind of build up on each other. So it's important that you learn all of them so you know how to solve every equation. Okay, so that was just the basic intro to basic forms, derivative rules. Remember, these are only four basic rules. In the next video, we'll take a look at another 3 important rules. And then on the next video, we will be looking at derivative rules with trigonometric functions. It's important that you memorize what they are, but most important that you understand the concept so that you know how to apply them in your homework or exams. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more videos in the future. Thanks.